Hello, this is Mark Sabatella from Outside Shore Music, home of Mastering MuseScore. In this week's tip, I want to show you about another new feature in MuseScore Studio 4.5. This is actually something you don't need to do anything special to enable. It's just something that happens automatically to help show the interaction between key signature changes and repeats. Also clef changes and time signature changes, but I'm going to be using key signature changes for this demonstration. So there's also some controls over this, some style options, and I'll show you some of those. But first, let's just take a look what it involves. Let's say we have a passage that has a repeated section here and then another repeated section here. And there's some key changes involved, which you can tell because I just wrote out some major scales. We have a C major scale, then a G major scale, and then some G minor scales. Well, let's say we wanted to put in a key change in the middle of that repeated section. I'm going to go ahead, select the first measure, go to key signatures, and put in that G major key signature. And look what MuseScore has done. It automatically puts in a natural sign in parentheses at the end of the repeat so that you know when you go back, hey, it's back to C major. And then it reinstates that G major key signature after the repeat to remind you that we are now back, we are still in G major. Now, so this is great. This happens completely automatically. Now, this passage here is not in fact in G major, right? It's in G minor. So let's go ahead and try to put a minor key signature in here. Well, when you do that, MuseScore does what is supposedly the officially correct thing to do. The key change only happens once. We change from G major to G minor once, and then we stay in G minor. So the change doesn't happen twice, so the key change does not go inside the repeats. That is the rule of notation. But it is not a universal rule, and a lot of editors will want to put that key signature change inside the repeats. And MuseScore has not had an option for this. It's required kind of workarounds to get that result until now. So let's go ahead and look at some of the options. So this placing the key signature between the repeats is correct, and it's not new, but what is new is ways of controlling that. So let's go to Format, Style, and then here under Clefs, key, and time signatures, we're going to see some options. So if I scroll down, you're going to see changes that apply only after repeats and jumps. And it's this option right here, allow changes between end start repeats. When I uncheck that, suddenly that key signature moves inside of the repeat, which is again where some editors will prefer to place it. While we're at it, you can see that there's all sorts of other options for these courtesies, those ones in parentheses like that F natural there. You know, we can control whether it shows up in parentheses or not. We can control whether it shows up at all or not. And there's also controls to show whether controls over whether it appears at other repeats like DCs and all sorts of other options that you're welcome to play with. The defaults have been chosen to be correct according to kind of modern engraving practice, but if you are trying to follow a different set of rules consistent with how a different publisher does things, these controls, these settings here should allow you to get a variety of different effects having to do with how clefs, key, and time signature changes work around repeats.